I've helped hundreds of architects and engineers transition from BIM modeling to BIM coordination. Some of these people have been stuck in their careers for like decades, and they finally just changed these 3 beliefs that actually changed the way that they see their career and allowed them to transition into BIM coordination. The reason I believe in this so much is because I believe in BIM so much because the way the digital construction industry and AI is actually progressing is actually causing everything to shift in the architectural, engineering, and drafting sort of sphere. So if you can actually orient yourself and align yourself with this new opportunity, which I think honestly is the opportunity of the century, you will be able to make a transition and grow in your career quicker than anyone else ever could, right? So in this video, what I want to do is break down the philosophy of career growth, because the thing is, it's not really what you do that dictates your outcomes. It's what you believe that dictates what you do that dictates your outcomes, okay? So if you can just buy into the idea of BIM and you can buy into the idea and see the things the same way that I see things, you will be able to achieve the exact same result with BIM coordination, with BIM management, and unlock your career the same way that every single person that I've personally worked with has been able to do, right? So watch the video till the end. I'm sure it's going to be really, really helpful. So these are the 3 things that keep people stuck. These 3 beliefs, they're called beliefs, okay? Number 1 is your experience dictates your value. And let's actually break down each one of these things. I'm going to explain to you why each of these core beliefs are actually wrong and why they lead you to stagnate very often, right? Number 1, if you believe your experience dictates your value, I can tell you there's so many reasons why that's not the case, because there's so many counter arguments and counter scenarios for this, right? If you think about it, there's 45 and 50-year-olds currently getting paid the same amount as you in the current company that you work for. You know that you might have been working for 5 years, 10 years, you might have been working for a few years, but you know that there's 45 and 50-year-olds that are getting paid the exact same amount as you. So it's not really based on your experience, it's based on your skill set, right? Number 2, there's 25 and 30-year-olds getting paid senior manager salaries. There's people that know how to orient themselves with the current market. For example, people that were doing software engineering jobs very early on and adopted it as the software engineering and the tech bubble and all of that stuff came into fruition. They're now working in large scale companies like Amazon, Netflix, Google, and they're able to do like the coding stuff, and they're getting paid $200,000, $300,000 to work remotely from home, less hours than usual, but they're getting paid a lot of money, right? So all they did was they just were early adopters and they saw where the trend of the industry was going and they oriented themselves to align themselves with that trend. And since they did that, they were able to get to a salary or like to a level or career growth that other people weren't able to get to. So it's not necessarily about the amount of experience you have, it's about the opportunity you're in and the skill set you have, right? If you develop the skill set of tech, if you develop the skill set of coding and you now have it in 2025, 2026, right? And you're someone that has that skill set early and you have the time and the skill set, and it's very obvious, then it becomes very obvious to big tech companies that you know how to do that stuff. Same thing goes with BIM, right? I'm just saying the tech stuff because it's very, very simple for you to understand because it's happened before. But with BIM, it's the same thing. Architectural and engineering industry, these 2 architectural and engineering industries haven't had an overhaul in the last like century. But now it's starting to have an overhaul, and you only get these opportunities once in a century, right? When digital construction and artificial intelligence comes and it takes over and it starts boosting it and propelling it into a different trajectory. If we understand when the gold rush happens that, okay, this is the new opportunity, we have to take advantage of this new opportunity, that's when you can actually make a lot of money and grow, right? If you don't take advantage of that opportunity, you stay stuck. And that's what happens is segregation between the new generation and the old generation is the new generation is more intuitive and understands where the market is heading with technology. And so that's what you want to do, right? I'm sort of going off into a tangent, but what I'm trying to say here is your experience doesn't dictate your value. It's your skill set and the opportunity that you're in, okay? Because 50-year-olds are getting paid the same amount of you and 25-year-olds, right, are getting paid triple the amount that you're getting paid. So the experience argument doesn't make sense here. There's old school guys who are just getting paid $70,000, $80,000 a year, right? And they're not able to grow because they don't orient themselves into the correct opportunity vehicle. So that's the most important thing for you to understand, is that your belief system is wrong if you believe one of these things, is because the market is changing. And so if you believe this, you will always be at the mercy of whatever company or your experience. You will always think that you have to have 10 years in the industry before you get to a specific income level or before you grow into the next position, which is completely wrong, right? It's just about orienting yourself in the correct way. Number 2 is you might think your company should invest in your growth. And this is completely wrong, because For a company to invest in your growth, it actually takes money away from the company. It actually makes the company inefficient. The company loses money temporarily if they were to invest in your growth. And let me break this down for you, right? If you think about a company, if I zoom in over here, you see three different cogs, and I drew these three different cogs as gears of a system, right? You have different people doing different tasks within a business, and then those three people or four people, or let's just say very small businesses, three people, okay? Three people doing three different tasks, unique tasks, in order to produce an outcome. With any sort of business, which is the thing you got to understand is you're working for a company as an architect or engineer or BIM modeler, you're working for a business. So you sort of have to understand the mechanics of a business and how you provide value in your sort of play in that business in order for you to actually go and propel and accelerate in your career, right? So very simple. If you have three different people doing three different activities of a business, and let's just say that you were the owner of that business and you got one guy to do the delivery, one guy to do the client acquisition, one guy to do like, let's just say, let's just make it very simple, right? One guy gets clients, one guy delivers to clients. Okay, so you have a guy that's good at marketing, a guy that's good at doing the delivery to clients. Okay, because fundamentally that's all a business is. The place that you work at, you'll have one guy which is acquiring the projects, one guy that is, you have a team of people, but let's just say one guy is doing the whole process. Let's say that what happened after some time is the guy that was acquiring the projects got paid a lot more, and the guy that was doing the projects was getting paid a lot less. Let's just say that after some time, the guy that was doing the projects and delivering the projects goes, hang on a minute, I want to actually grow and progress because I want to get paid more. What happens is, this guy says, hey, can I go and work on acquisition? Because I know that you get paid way more in acquisition. Let me go and let me work there. If that guy that was doing the delivery comes to you as the business owner and says, hey, can I work in acquisition? What are you going to say, right? You're probably going to say, no. Like, you're doing really good at delivery right now. If you get better at delivery and you find more cost-effective solutions, I'll pay you more. But if you go and start doing acquisition now, you know nothing about acquisition. Who's going to do the delivery, right? If you go and do acquisition, not only does the guy that's doing acquisition have to teach you, now he's becoming inefficient. Now there's no one that's going to be doing delivery. So do you see how the system breaks apart when we actually get rid of like one person? So we have these three different cogs, right, in the machine over here. As soon as you get rid of one, the thing that you got to understand is the other two stop rotating, because the middle one is what kept the other two on the side rotating, because they're all interconnected. And so a lot of people think that the company should invest in your growth. If you really think about it logically from a first principles perspective, because that's what I like to really break things down into is first principles. If a company has multiple people to do different tasks, right, and the company is not a bloated company, right, it is a very lean company where each individual has a specific task to do for a specific outcome. As soon as you go and try and do the next skill set or get promoted into a management position or get promoted into a AI position or get promoted into BIM coordination, BIM management position, what happens is the previous role that you were doing, now someone has to get trained in order to do that. That's costing the company money. You don't even know how to do the next position. So you have to get trained in order to do the next position. That's costing the company more money, right? So if you think about it from a very like financial company perspective, a company or a business, the place that you work for, right, which is your career, does a specific thing for a specific client. As long as you do your role right now and you get better at it, the company makes more money because it's arbitraging your labor, right? You get better at your current job, the company makes more money because you're getting more efficient at delivering the same result. Over time, the client gets charged more, you get more efficient. The delta between what you're getting charged out for and what the client is getting is very high. All right, we increase that gap. But what happens is if you don't do this and you go, okay, I'm going to switch into something else. Now what's happening is the company is becoming really inefficient. So all I want you to understand is for you wouldn't even get people to cross-pollinate and like learn each other's skill sets within a company because you would want to hire someone that is good at a specific thing and make them an expert at that thing. If you hired a BIM modeler, you would want that BIM modeler to be the best BIM modeler in the world and not really like learn anything else. What that means is you want that BIM modeler to work very effectively, very productively, and do everything, right? But if you hired a BIM coordinator, you would want that BIM coordinator to be good at meetings, communication, negotiation, and all that stuff. So there's a bunch of skill sets that you would need for a management position, which naturally would make the manager feel better. There's a bunch of stuff you would need for a technical position like BIM modeler, which would make the BIM modeler more trapped in his position. This is where the discrepancy comes from. People will be BIM modelers for a very long time, but the companies are incentivized to make them more and more BIM modelers modelers, people will become BIM coordinators, and the companies incentivize them to develop the skills to become BIM coordinators. So the BIM coordinators will naturally progress, the BIM modelers won't. And so the company is never going to invest in your growth. You have to invest in your growth, so you reduce the cost that the company will endure whenever you make a transition from one to another. Okay? Very long point to explain, but that is the second belief. If you believe your company should invest in your growth, that is one thing that's going to hold you back, because you're always going to wait and you're never going to actually achieve. Okay? Because you will never invest in your own growth. Number 3 is you should try and learn the skills yourself. If you genuinely believe that you can do things with trial and error and you can get to the outcome that you want, you probably can, but it'll take longer than you expect. That's the only thing, right? You can get anywhere you want if you try your best and you do trial and error. But the thing is, it will genuinely take you 10, 20, 30 years to get there. And what's the point of even getting to the age of 50, 55, 65, becoming a senior manager when you have 10 years left to work? And the money that you're making at that age is not even going to help you because your kid's a lot older, your family is older, and you don't need the money anymore. What's the point of going on holiday when you're and living a free life where you can work less now when you're 55, 60, when you're not even guaranteed life's going to go for that long, right? So the thing is, all of this stuff, career growth, is only valuable when it happens quickly. Because everyone can get to a very an end age, and anyone can make an argument that if you saved a specific amount of money until the time you're 65, you'd have $1 million in your bank account, or you'd be really good high up in your career and you'd be making a lot of money, right? But the thing is, no one wants to wait until 65. There is a way to do it quicker if you orient yourself with the correct opportunity vehicle. And there is a way to do it quicker if you actually understand the mistakes that people have made before if they were trying to do the exact same thing as you, and you just don't make those mistakes, right? So if you understand what it takes to go from A to B, and you just don't want to make the same mistakes as that person, and you say, okay, I'm just not going to make the same mistakes as that person. Let me just do it in the correct cookie cutter way. You can get there in 1 year, what it would take you 5, 10 years to do. I really experienced this, right? Because I got very lucky early on in my career, because when I decided I wanted to become a BIM coordinator, I wanted to get into the BIM field. I had a very high paying job after university. I let go of that high paying job to work in a company that was paying me $50,000 less. Okay, so I gave up $50,000 in that first year of working just because I knew that I wanted to be in BIM, because this was the vision. I wanted to work with 3D models. I saw that the BIM industry was doubling in the next 5 years. I saw this, and the stuff with AI and everything as well, it's coming, right? So all of this stuff together made me a really compelling argument that I really wanted to get into the BIM industry. And so I gave up that other opportunity, $50,000, and to work in a company that was paying me much less, just so I could work as a BIM modeler, not even a BIM coordinator, just so you know, because then I knew that I would have the opportunity to at least become a BIM coordinator in that company, right? What happened was, because I was willing to do such a big such a big sacrifice in my career, the people in that company recognized it, the owner of that company, and he allowed me to sit next to the BIM manager, because this was one of the visions which I had with my career. And because he allowed me to sit next to the BIM manager, I learned everything that he had learned in 10 years, because he had been working for 10 years and he was really high up in the company. I learned everything, and we were sitting next to each other for 8 hours a day, right? For 1 year. So I learned everything that he learned within the span of 6 months. And so I went from BIM modeling to BIM coordinator within 6 months BIM modeling, and then it shifted the end of the 6 months. I started shifting into BIM coordination, and then I became a full-time BIM coordinator, right? The only reason that was possible is because I got super lucky, because I sat next to someone that had 10 years of industry experience, and I learned all that. So that's how much I believe in the power of downloading information from other people that have done the thing before you. Because if I wanted to naturally progress, become a BIM modeler, do that for 5 years, try to learn things here and there from the internet, try and apply for a few companies, right, get rejected, maybe 8 years down the line, I would apply for a BIM coordination position. I would have started to realize by then it might have been too saturated and it would have been harder for me to get in. All of that stuff would have cost me so much time that I didn't want any of that, because the only value is if you grow quickly, right? That's what you want. The only value in career growth is if you do it quickly, because quick is what makes you feel happy. The progress, the acceleration is what makes you feel really satisfied about life, at least for me, right? So because of that, I got really lucky with that. I understand that's not something that everyone gets access to, which is honestly the reason why I started BIM Accelerator. If you want to work with me, click the first link down below. I help people learn the exact same things as my mentor helped me by transferring 10 years of his industry experience into my brain within 6 months. I help people that work with me do the same thing by transferring my industry knowledge into their brain. And that's what allows people to actually get results when they work with me, because they understand how things actually happen in the industry. And so this is what allows people to shortcut their progress. And if you go click the link, you'll see, or DM me the word BIM on Instagram. I'll send you like over a document that has like all the different case studies of people that have worked with me. You'll see that people get results really quickly in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And these are people that have been stagnant in their careers for 5 to 10 years. Like, what is the reason that they come to me and they're able to make this change? Is because they understand how the industry works and they understand the nuances about how BIM is actually implemented, the real life workflows. And just that understanding alone increases the acceleration at which they're able to then go and communicate and have confidence to talk in job interviews and stuff like that, right? So the acceleration is what makes things worth it. And so if you believe that you wanted to learn skills by yourself, it's going to take you a very long time, because you would never go to university to learn architecture and engineering in the first place. You would never go and you would never try and, like, you would probably go and try and learn how to become an architect, how to become an engineer by yourself from scratch. That would take you 30 years, right? But you go to university, you go through a proper structured method of learning, which gets you to the outcome, which gets companies to allow to hire you. And so that's the thing that you got to understand, is that the way that you've learnt so far and you've got to this stage of your life is also the way that you're going to go to the next stage in your career as well. But the thing is, a lot of people learn their whole life. They get into their career and they stop learning because they think, okay, now I'm making money, the company is paying me. You paid money up in this point to learn, but now the company is paying you, you no longer want to learn anymore. But the company is paying you, you have more resources. So arguably, you should be spending way more money than you did in the first 22, 23 years, however long you spent going to school and going to university, to then invest in yourself to learn more skills to then increase your income, right? That is the one shift that will allow you to get places faster that a lot of people don't really take. And that's like the thing that turbocharges. I honestly am spending so much time saying this because I believe in this so much. Because even with, for example, this YouTube channel, learning how to communicate effectively to a camera, learning how to do different things with like web pages and trying to create websites and communicate and talk to people on calls and all this stuff, like things related to business and company and BIM consultancy, my BIM consultancy and training company, I have spent in the last year over $25,000 in personal education just to learn these things, right? This is just for education, for communication, better communication, making content better and all this stuff. And so this is not even related to BIM. This is related to just like the business aspect of I'm investing in myself so I can help other people achieve the same result. I'm investing in myself so I can help other people in my BIM coordination program achieve their result better because I'm better at communicating. That's how much I believe in this thing. And I believe in how much education is worth it, right? So there's two things, like invest in your career and invest in the thing that you want to do on the side as well, if you want to even do that on the side. And so these three beliefs, okay, just to recap, we talked about your experience dictates your value. That's number one. Your company should invest in your growth and you should try and learn the skills yourself. If you have these three fundamental beliefs, you're not going to get far because you're always going to externalize the problem. You're going to wait until the company gives you the opportunity to grow, and you're never actually going to take action to do things quicker. You're going to do things like try to do things naturally, which is going to lead you to maybe achieving the result, but by the time you're 50. Okay, so if you just don't believe these three things, these three are the silent killers of career growth. Okay, because the thing is, you don't know that you have these three beliefs because they're all subconscious. But if you change the way that you see these three beliefs and you just flip it, all of a sudden you can start to grow really quickly, right? And I want to introduce to you like two concepts. One is the slow lane and one is the fast lane. If you sort of incorporate these three beliefs into your thinking, you will end up inevitably in the slow lane career path. And the person in the slow lane is waiting for their company to give them a promotion, right? They're waiting for their company to give them the opportunity. They're waiting for experience. They're waiting for time in the market, which is a fallacy because your experience never actually helps you. We already talked about that. And they're also trying to learn things themselves. Like they're trying to learn things themselves. They get stuck. They don't have an external, someone for accountability. They don't have someone external telling them if they're even learning the right thing. So they spent probably 6 months learning the wrong thing to then realize that, was this even the path that I wanted to go down? And there's all these different stories, right? I had someone get on a call with me, and I spoke to an architect ages ago, and he said that he was learning how to do Dynamo, and he's been learning how to do Dynamo for 6 months now. And I said on the call, you just wasted your time, because like learning Dynamo has nothing to do with BIM coordination. His number one goal, I forgot to say this, was he wanted to become a BIM coordinator or BIM manager. He wanted to start off with coordination, but learning Dynamo had nothing to do with BIM coordination, right? And a lot of people think it is, and they spend a long time mastering something that isn't even going to help them get an interview in the first place or increase their confidence. Because that guy felt not confident after 6 months of doing that by himself. And if he had just had some guy in the industry or like some sort of help or someone from work, right, telling them, okay, this is what I do as a BIM coordinator. Do you want to learn these things? Someone from work, he would be able to learn this stuff in like probably 2 months, 2 or 3 months, right? But he spent 6 months doing one thing, whereas he could have spent 3 months doing 10 things to help him if he just had the right guidance. So that's how important this is, right? Number 2 is the fast lane. If you're controlling your value, you're not jumping, you're getting into the correct opportunity vehicle. And like I said at the start, you're aligning yourself with the correct, the trajectory and the trend where the market is going. And you're also learning the skills fast, and you're using other people's experiences in the industry for you to shortcut your career by like 10 years, because you're learning what they would learn in 10 years in 1 year or 6 months. That's going to allow you to progress quicker and excel faster. And when companies interview you, the first thing they're going to think, and this is one of the most common things that a lot of people in my BIM Accelerator program have told me. When companies interview them finally after like learning everything from me one-on-one, they're surprised about the amount of technical stuff they know about BIM coordination, even though they have never done BIM coordination. Because I help a lot of people do go from BIM modeling to BIM coordination, right? And the biggest struggle over here is that you have no experience. So in order to get experience, you have to get a job, but you don't get a job unless you get experience. So the way that I combat that sort of is by helping them understand the workflows, because I teach them the way that I do it, and I walk them through like a program of doing a whole BIM coordination workflow from start to finish. So they know how it's done in the industry, because it's the way that I'm currently doing it in my workplace and the companies that I do BIM coordination for. And because of this, they develop the confidence and the mindset so that they put it on their resume and their portfolio. They get the interviews. When they go to the interviews, they can actually speak very confidently. And one of the most common pieces of feedback that they get, and they don't lie, they say that they've done it before. They say that they've done it with a mentor or someone that they have learned the BIM coordination process from. But the thing is, every single time they say that and they go to these interviews, the most common piece of feedback that they're getting is that it's actually very surprising that you know all this stuff, even though you've never done this stuff before. And because of that, we actually really want you to work at this company. And this is the reason why I have always told all of the people that work with me one-on-one that you don't even need to say that you know coordination. You just have to the thing is like a business owner who really understands these 3 things: experience, growth, and skill set. If you're going to hire someone to communicate, like a BIM coordinator, someone that's going to help your company grow, develop BIM workflows, communicates well, is a good leader. For example, let's take one of these things like leadership, right? How do you lead other people? How do you help people learn? In order to help other people learn and lead other people, you have to be good at leading yourself first. So you have to be someone that's self-motivated, willing to sort of invest in yourself, learn these skill sets. Because if you're the type of person that can do that, you're also the type of person that can go to a company and you can invest in the company's growth, because you have a very investing mindset, because you're going to be like, okay, I can learn these skill sets. I know these things. These are the things that I've learned. Therefore, I have the same mentality when it comes to the company I'm working for. So I can increase the amount of money the company is making. This is how business owners think when they're trying to hire you, right? Hiring managers, CEOs, directors, drafting managers, all these people, this is how they think. And they want you to sort of fit into that archetype where they go like, okay, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. This guy is a leader. This guy knows how to lead himself. This guy knows how to actually acquire the skill set. Therefore, he's going to be a good fit for this company. Okay, if you make them think like that, they're actually going to give you the role, right? So going back to this, the fast lane is where it's at. The fast lane is where you need to get to, and the only way you can get to the fast lane is by changing the way that you see these 3 things. If you adopt these 3 ways of believing things, you will actually be stuck in your career for a very, very long time until you actually flip these 3 things, and then naturally you will start to look for solutions. But you won't even start to look for solutions until you change the way that you think about these 3 things, okay? And honestly, the way that I know about these 3 things, I think I said at the start of the video, is because I've worked with so many people one-on-one, and I understand what it takes to achieve results and what it takes to not achieve results. And I've spoken to at least 200 architects over like the last year and a half, right? architects and engineers, people that are BIM modelers and they want to get into BIM coordination. So I know exactly what it takes for you to become a BIM coordinator. And I know the type of person that quits and doesn't believe it's possible and doesn't want to do it and doesn't actually take it seriously is the type of person that believes these three things. And so at some point along the journey, they drop off or they change their mind or they believe it's not going to work for them and they don't actually do the thing. And it's actually... getting the outcome is actually very simple. The hard part is resistance. Resistance is the thing between your ears. The resistance is the thing that you tell yourself when you're going to do something hard. When you're running 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, anyone that hasn't run before, and I tell you to run 6 kilometers, right? If you're a brand new runner, if you're like a seasoned runner, this might not work for you, but change it to like whatever you think is hard for you to run. Okay. Let's just say that I told you to run 5 kilometers. Running 5 kilometers is theoretically not hard. You put one foot in front of the other for like 25 to 30 minutes until you achieve the goal. And whatever like your heart rate says, if you can just continue to do this over and over again, you will achieve the goal. But the thing is, the reason people can't run 5 kilometers is because of the resistance. Is because the tricks your mind plays on you. Is the thing that you'll think that this is not going to work. This is not worth it. Will this even work? Do I even have the experience? Do I have to do this? Why doesn't the company do this for me? Like all these different beliefs is what actually causes you to not take action, which is ironically also the reason why a lot of people stay stuck. Is the reason that people never get into shape in the first place, even with running, or people never run in the first place, is because they believe they can't do it. Whereas if they just got out of their own head and they went for a walk first, or they went for like a jog first, or they did a run where it was like you could have walked faster, but like at least you did the activity of running, over time you would be able to achieve the result. But because they believe they can't do it, they don't even take the first step. That's the reason a lot of people fail, right? So that's a big thing with like beliefs. So the growth formula that I want to present to you is 3 things. In order for you to grow in your career, you need responsibility, skill set, and speed. You need to add them together, okay? This is not responsibility squared. What I mean by responsibility with the 2 on the top is this is just these 3 things that I talked about, just flipped, right? So we talked about responsibility. Where does responsibility come from? It comes from up here. The company should invest in your growth. As long as you believe that, let me show you here, right? So this responsibility thing over here is coming from here. If you believe your company should invest in your growth, it means you're outsourcing your responsibility to someone else. Okay, you don't want to outsource your responsibility to someone else because it's your responsibility. As soon as you start to believe that it's your decision and you have to do it, that's when you get the responsibility and that's when you take action, right? So that's the first thing. You have to believe that you're responsible for the outcome of your life. Number 2 is skill set. This comes from number 1. Okay, your experience dictates your value. No, it's not your experience, it's actually your skill set, because the amount of skills you have and how oriented you are with the current market and the trends in the market is going to dictate the amount of value you provide for the company you work for. So if you have a high value skill set, right, you will be able to solve better problems for the company you work for, therefore you will get paid more. Very simple. So all you have to do is focus on your skill set. So once you believe that you are in control of your life and you actually believe that you have to take responsibility for developing your skills, then you go and you develop your skills. That's the second thing to do. Once you develop your skills, now you have the arsenal. You have a bunch of skills that you know can make businesses on average more money than the skills you did have 1 year ago. Okay, so naturally you will get paid more money. Very simple. Number 3 is speed, because there's no point of thinking that it's your job and acquiring the skill set if it takes you a decade to acquire the skill set. You want to be able to acquire the skill set quickly, because that's what's going to allow you to grow really quickly up here versus being stagnant for a long time. Because you can be stagnant but sort of grow, but that's if you don't do this stuff quickly. And so what you want to do is you want to optimize for speed, because speed is what allows you to do 15 years of growth in 5. Speed is what allows you to achieve your dream life that you would live when you're retiring, but be able to do that like 10 years or 20 or 30 years earlier, right? That is what speed allows you to do. So speed is coming from thinking that you should try and learn the skills yourself. As long as you believe that you can only do these things yourself and you have to do these things yourself, you will always stay stuck for years longer than you should be. But as soon as you start to understand that speed is really important, and you start to invest your time, right, and your money into finding solutions that are going to be better for you, you will save years of your life. Right? And so I'll talk about the opportunity cost formula in a second, but like that is the 3 things: responsibility, skill set, and speed. Those 3 things are so important for growth, right? And I want to really break down for you like some examples. I worked with Arushi, who became a BIM coordinator in 90 days. She was doing architectural drafting, but then we transitioned her over into BIM coordination very quickly. She's from London. And when she first came to me, she was feeling stuck and stagnant in her career. And she was doing like CAD work. And she had done some Revit work, but she was working in a company that was doing CAD stuff. And she absolutely hated her job. It's pretty interesting because within a month of working with me personally, right, she actually quit her job because she didn't even want to work in that job for like the long run. So she went all in on like trying to become, she would rather not have a job than do the Revit, the CAD work and the Revit work, than become a BIM coordinator. Right. So like she wanted to become a BIM coordinator so bad that she was willing to not do anything just so that she could become a BIM coordinator because she wanted to orient herself with growth. Now she's working in a really good company in London as a BIM coordinator, and she's growing really quickly as well. Diego from Australia, I just got off a call with him like literally like 20 minutes ago. I was actually talking to him about the new company that he's at. He really likes his job. He's saying that he's doing BIM, he's a BIM manager there, and he's also implementing AI stuff. So he's like a BIM manager, AI manager in that company. And his role is to implement better BIM systems and also implement AI into the company to make the company better, make more money and become like more productive, right? This guy, Diego, he worked with me. He's from Australia. He was a structural drafting person for 15 years. And so he was stuck there for 15 years until he started to work with me. He finally learned this skill set and he oriented himself and aligned himself in the correct way, the way the industry is heading, and he's able to capitalize on the opportunities that are in the market, right? Ty from London, when we started working together, he was a landscape architect, and within 60 days, he became a BIM coordinator, right? He wanted to become a manager for so long, but he couldn't crack it. He said he worked in like a M&E company, a MEP company, a architectural company, an architectural landscape company, a structural company. He was doing all these different modeling things, and every single time he went from one company to another, he was thinking that, okay, this is going to be the company where I'm taken seriously, where I become a manager, but he never could become a manager. And the reason why is because he was very technical, all right? So what we did was we oriented him in a way that allowed him to become an expert at BIM, the new opportunity in the market, and then he became a BIM coordinator. Once he became a BIM coordinator, now people are coming to him as an expert, and he's gaining the skill set, communication, leadership, negotiation, BIM coordination, BIM management, all this stuff. People are coming to him to ask him for advice about all this like BIM stuff and leading meetings and like what we should do and what your opinion is here and your opinion is there. He feels way more involved in the whole construction process, and he's really liking his job, right? And so he's saying, by going, like, he wasn't able to grow for so long. He was hitting the ceiling, so many different companies that he's tried. When he got into BIM coordination, that's sort of like the pivoting point for him to then start being taken seriously and get into management positions in his career, right? There's other people, Jana, Vic, like this video would take too long if I explain it, but I can, there's YouTube interviews if you want to go and watch it on my channel somewhere, right? This is the key concept is like, I want you to understand the concept of opportunity vehicle, because opportunity vehicle is one of the most important things that you can understand right now. I talked about beliefs. I talked about who this is work for. I talked about the career growth formula. Now, I have two graphs for you, right? A graph where we're growing really slowly and a graph where we're growing really quickly. The only difference is that these three, like all these people that I talked about, at this point, the 3 to 5 year mark in the industry, they understood something that the other people don't understand. And that's those three things. They realize that it's their responsibility to make a change. They have to acquire the new skill set and they have to do it quickly before it takes them like a decade, right? Because otherwise they're going to stay stuck, right? They're going to acquire it slowly. It's not going to be their responsibility. It's going to be someone else's responsibility, and they're never going to get there. So these people, after 3 to 5 years, everyone that I've worked with, they've realized that in order for them to go into a growth curve like this, rather than staying stagnant and flat, they have to shift the way they believe, like their beliefs, those three things, and they have to shift their opportunity vehicle, right? Opportunity vehicle is sort of like the opportunity. Okay, so opportunity vehicle is like the boat you're in for you to get to a specific outcome, okay? This is the fundamental reason why some people get paid a lot of money and some people get paid like a little bit of money. Let's just say that someone that is driving Uber Eats, the opportunity, or delivery driver, the opportunity vehicle is very low because it's very competitive. And because it's very competitive, you can't ask for better prices. You can't go and get on the Uber Eats app and say that, no, I want to charge 3 times the amount, because Uber Eats pays you a specific amount for you to go and do the delivery driving and whatever, right? So if you're like, the opportunity vehicle there is so low and it is so capped that you can only work 8 hours and get paid this much. You can't increase your leverage because other people are willing to do it for the same amount. It's a very laborious task, right? So the opportunity vehicle is sort of like the boat you're in. Okay, think of it as like a rowboat. If you're in a rowboat and you're rowing really, really hard, you can row for like 2 hours and you can be very, very tired. And you'll probably have to take a break. You'll start going slowly. Then when you get some like energy, you can start rowing again. Let's compare this to if you have a boat and you have sails. If you have sails in your boat, as long as the wind is wind that day and the wind catches onto those sails, you will just start to naturally glide down to the pathway you want to get to and the destination you want to get to. And it's just a matter of time, right? You might not get there in like 30 minutes or 1 hour, but you know, you can sort of like relax, you can look around, you can take it in, you can sort of enjoy yourself while you're on that journey in order to achieve your outcome. So the opportunity vehicle is how hard you have to work in order for you to achieve a specific outcome. Because you might be in the wrong opportunity vehicle right now, which means that you can try forever, but you'll never get the outcome. Let's take it one step further. Let's say you get the Lamborghini yacht, right? Lamborghini makes yachts, by the way, if you didn't know, but they have like a speedboat. They have like a motor on it and everything, right? It goes fast. If you got a Lamborghini yacht or like a jet ski compared to a sailboat or a regular boat where you're manually rowing, you're going way faster. So your opportunity vehicle now is like 10 times, 15, 20 times the amount, okay? So let's break this down. Someone that's doing Revit modeling just entered the industry and is doing BIM modeling over and over again. They're in like a very laborious boat, so they have to be doing the manual labor every single day. Someone that's doing like BIM coordination, BIM management, right? They're in like the boat with the sails, okay? They're naturally going to the path they want to get to. They're looking around and they're enjoying the process as well. But they're not working too hard and they can live a more relaxed life. Let's break this, let's take it one step further. The Lamborghini yacht is sort of like the person that has developed the skills through BIM coordination, communication, leadership, all the BIM, the workflows, and he starts like a BIM consulting company or like starts the newest big thing in this industry, right? Like a BIM consulting company or like even like a drafting company with BIM. If you can become like the director of that and you can hire some people below you, you can actually make a lot of money like that because you can train people to learn Revit and you can charge like a high amount. You can get the delta for not doing that much work, okay? So people that are taking advantage, people that are doing like AI, I have a friend that is starting like an AI company, and his AI tool integrates with the ACC and it gives you AI insights into the different models. So it will like automatically tell you if your grid lines of like all the different models on the ACC, if they're like misaligned and stuff, it will tell you all that stuff. And like that is like a recurring monthly program that costs like $3,000. It's like expensive, right? So he's in a completely different boat to anyone that could ever be working a normal job because he's in an opportunity vehicle. Okay, AI, BIM coordination, the construction industry is going digital. Let me get into this boat and let me steer down this path, right? So that guy's on like the Lamborghini yacht, like someone that's doing like a high leverage task, like starting a BIM training company, something similar to which I'm doing, or something like BIM consultancy. Like that's a very high opportunity vehicle. That's the best opportunity vehicle you can be at. So there's different types of opportunity vehicles you can go. These vehicles will dictate how far you get along in life. If you opt in to stay at the same opportunity level, opportunity vehicle, BIM modeling for the rest of your life, you will always be stuck there. You will never be able to achieve what you want to get to. You have to get into BIM coordination to acquire the skill set to then start to do these other things that you want to do later on and grow. Because sometimes you don't even get the idea of like what you even want to do in life until you actually get into a position where you actually feel passionate about your job. So the number one problem I tell a lot of people to do first is solve the problem where you don't feel passionate about your job. Solve the problem where you've been stuck and stagnant for the last 15 years. Solve the problem where you've been getting paid the same amount of money, maybe a 3% raise for the last 5 years. If you can solve that, your opportunity vehicle stuff will take care of itself because you will naturally start to develop a vision, where you want to go, what you want to do. You will start to feel the passion and you'll start to drive there, right? My iPad stopped recording, so let's start it again. Okay. All right. So that's what I'm trying to say. So in this diagram over here, all I want you to understand is the person that grows, like the career innovator, at the 3 to 5 year mark at least, and I did this earlier, but typically this is what I see people that work with me, they understand that they have to increase their opportunity vehicle or change their opportunity vehicle from stagnant to growth oriented. And so that's why they go from BIM modeling to BIM coordination, because they understand that the skills they require to learn come from BIM coordination, management, those positions, these higher leverage positions, right? And so that's the key concept that I wanted to explain. a little bit more about opportunity vehicle. Like if you're a BIM modeler, you're doing very repetitive work. You have no natural growth. You have no leadership that's developed. You're only exposed to a small segment of the construction process. You're in a very technical based role and you're glued to your desk, right? As a BIM coordinator, the reason why the opportunity vehicle is better is because you have a variety of work, right? So you're not getting bored and you're not getting burnt out every single day. You have natural growth because you're learning communication, leadership, you're running meetings, you're learning how to deal with all these different types of people, and you're learning like a bunch of stuff, like what I call meta skills, which you wouldn't get as a BIM modeler. Number 3, your communication is developed. This is probably arguably one of the best things you can do for your career and life in general is if you can learn to speak more coherently and break concepts down better. It'll help you with job interviews. It'll help you with getting promotions in your existing company. If you don't develop this stuff, you will actually never grow. Okay, that's number 1. You can start your own company later with the skills you learn. You can work virtually, right? You can be exposed to the whole construction process. Like I worked virtually last week. I went to this place in Melbourne called the Grampians, and I worked from a cabin in the woods with kangaroos and kookaburras because I like doing stuff like that, right? I don't like, I want to be inspired in order for me to like do work on my consulting company or BIM coordination company. I want to feel inspired. And so I want to have the capacity to dictate the location where I work so that I can increase the amount of ideas which I get, which will ultimately propel me to my goal. That type of stuff only happens when you go from a low leverage opportunity vehicle. You can never do that with BIM modeling to a high leverage opportunity vehicle like BIM coordination. Okay, so that's what I want you to start to think about is how do I go from one opportunity vehicle to another, which is much better for my growth. Okay. Now, I want to sort of bring this back home, and I'm nearly done here with the cost of inaction, because the thing is, I talk a lot about like you shouldn't try and learn the skills yourself. You should always get someone's assistance or guidance, someone from work that is a BIM coordinator, BIM manager, someone in the industry that is a BIM coordinator, BIM manager, or you should learn things instead of trying to figure it out yourself, because you'll actually never get there if you try and do it yourself. I keep saying that, but the thing is, a lot of people, the reason that I believe in this so heavily and so deeply is because I actually visualize what the cost of inaction is better than like I think a lot of other people do. Like, because the thing is, I've spoken to a lot of people and they say they want to grow, but they don't really understand the cost of inaction and why this is so urgent, right? You only have a limited window in a market, in an industry, in order to get into that opportunity for you to grow. So for example, how can I explain this, right? Back when, stay with me here because you might not understand this, but like back when software engineering was a thing. Let's just go with this example because it makes sense, because that's like something that happened recently. If you try and get into software engineering now, there's people that are making a lot of money with software engineering, right? There's people making like $200, $300, $400,000 working less than 30 hours, 20 hours a week, working for big companies like Google, Amazon, Netflix, doing the coding for them. The only way that they were able to get to that position now is because of the work they've done and the opportunity they've been in for the last 10 years. Okay, are you with me here? So what I'm saying is, if you decided you wanted to work for Google, you wouldn't be able to do it right now because you would have to learn it. You would have to go do some projects. You'd have to create a resume. You'd have to create a portfolio. You'd have to start applying. You'd have to go from one company to another, and then naturally you'd be able to get to it, right? But if you had done that 10 years ago in 2012, 2010, okay, when the software stuff was just like on the verge of like, okay, this is like really coming into fruition because like technology is developing, the internet is sort of starting to become a thing. There was a period of time where you understood that the internet is the best thing, right? That is around like 2012, 2013. You should have understood that the internet was going to like be the thing it is right now. If you understood that, you would have been all in on learning software. Some of you might have been like really young by then, but like some of you might have like understood that, okay, this is like the big thing that the internet is going to like blow up, right? If you understood that, you would learn tech, you would learn software, you'd learn coding. That would now pay dividends because now 10 years later, you would be in the best opportunity to be working. But that's only because you got ahead of the curve and you entered when the market wasn't saturated. That's the argument I'm trying to make here, okay? So the thing is, if there is always a period of time in a market, in an industry, where there is a golden window for you to enter. And if you don't enter, you miss out. You can enter later on, but it's much harder. But the thing is, if you enter in that golden window, there is such a high capacity for you to learn and grow and actually achieve the result that it is way too easy. And this is where the unfair advantages come in, is like when you understand this. So if you tried to get into like software engineering back in 2006, 2004, 2000 even, right? When computers were barely a thing, right? You would probably have struggled for 10 years, but that's not because of your skill set. That's because of the opportunity in the market wasn't there. But if you had caught on at 2010 onwards, when it was very obvious that software was going to become one of the major things in the world and the internet was going to blow up like it is right now, then you would be in a really good position now. It's the same thing with the architectural and construction industry. If someone told you about the BIM coordination, BIM management 10 years ago, you would have learnt it. You would have tried to learn it, but you wouldn't have become a BIM coordinator, BIM manager. It wouldn't have become easy because there wasn't enough opportunity in the market. But now it's a golden window where the BIM industry is doubling in the next 5 years, and it will continue to double because of AI, right? And the way that the construction industry is digitally aligned. Everything is aligning into digital construction. And so if you're taking advantage of this unique opportunity in the market right now, is the best time, because you can learn this stuff and you can position yourself as a really, really skilled individual. Honestly, it is the best time. If you miss this opportunity, this brief window, you could get into it later on, but you're going to feel so stupid that you didn't take advantage when it was much easier, because you're literally saving yourself like 4, 5, 6 years of pain by just doing this earlier. And it's got nothing to do with how hard you work. It's just to do with timing. And so that's sort of like the argument that I want to make to you. Like, the thing that a lot of people don't understand is the cost of inaction is so high because of AI. And the thing is, we're not gonna, like, you won't even be able to understand the way that the everything is heading and shifting in the next like 10 years or 20, 30 years, right? So the cost of inaction is not even comprehensible, and like we can't even measure it. That's how much I believe in this whole like BIM thing, right? So that's why I'm saying we need to get into like a really good opportunity vehicle for you to be able to grow and then pivot into like what is going to be the future, okay? And so someone that is valued for their leadership skills, communication skills, their technical skills, like BIM coordination, BIM management skills, that is the type of person that is going to be able to survive the wipeout. Whereas someone that is just like done their technical skills, like BIM modeling is very saturated. And the reason that I know that is because how many companies do you know that outsource BIM modeling to cheaper countries that have cheaper labor, right? There's so many countries, like all the companies that I know that I work for outsource all of their modeling to cheaper countries, because these people in cheaper countries can do it for 1/10 of the price. So how do you grow as a BIM modeler? How do you maintain security in your job if all these other companies are just using like, I don't know, Spain and Argentina and India and these Asian countries in order to do their BIM modeling, right? Very hard to outsource leadership, communication, management, running meetings, helping the company develop BIM workflows. Very hard to outsource that, because that requires a company to buy into who you are rather than an outcome, okay? That's what I'm trying to say here. One more thing about the cost of inaction. If you believe that, you know, if you're, let's just make it very simple with math here. One more thing on the financial side of things, because that was based on the side of things to do with opportunity and how you really need to take advantage of the opportunity. I didn't even bring finances into it, right? But if you're the type of person that is motivated by money, that wants to make more money in their career, because I guess it's better for everyone to make money, right? If you're getting paid 60K right now, US dollars or something, as a BIM modeler, and you want to get into like 100K, that's 40K difference, okay? Let's just say very simple. People like BIM coordinators, BIM managers get paid more if you can get more responsibility from the company. But let's just say very simple for you to understand, 60K to 100K, 40K difference. If for the next 5 years, you don't learn this skill set, you lose 40K every 5 years. 40, 40, 40, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16. 160,000. Let's just 5 years, sorry. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. $200,000 that would have been in your bank account is now taken away from you and you've lost it. But the thing is, if I gave you tomorrow a job that paid you $40,000, but I taxed you an extra 40K, you would feel very uncomfortable about that. And you'd say, that's unfair. I was getting paid that much and you're taking that much away from me, right? But since you've never made that amount of money, you've never made an extra $40,000, and you've never gone to the extra step in your career that's paying you way more, you've never really understood or conceptualized how much you're missing out on. This is opportunity cost. If you go the next 5 years, let's just take the last 5 years, The fact that you didn't know how to become a BIM coordinator or grow into a management position or get paid more in your company has literally cost you multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars in your bank account that you would have had if you just knew it. So the cost of inaction is so high that you're spending. You can think about it is, if you're the type of person that knows that you can actually achieve this result, if you're the type of person that knows that you have what it takes to actually become a BIM coordinator, manager, grow in their career and actually achieve something really great, and you're not doing anything about it, right? Because there's a lot of people that this will not work for, but if you're the type of person that knows deep down that they can actually grow in their career and they can actually do the things that a lot of the people like the senior managers and bosses in their company are doing, just by you not knowing and not taking action to do something about it, right? Every single year that goes past, you are giving away a brand new car away every single year, right? And sometimes we don't really understand it, but like that's the one thing that I sort of want you to understand is that like it is very expensive. Inaction is more expensive than what you think, okay? And so if you want to take advantage of the BIM industry, now is the best time. I would say go for it, because it's just the best thing you could possibly do. Changed my life, okay? So summary of steps. Let me give you a quick summary, okay? It's just so you understand where to go from here. Your beliefs dictate your actions. They dictate your outcomes. Don't just think about what actions do I have to do to get a specific outcome. Think, what beliefs do I have to have? What is the philosophy that I have to approach my career, my life with in order for me to achieve a specific outcome? If you can have that mindset and you change the way that you change those 3 core beliefs that I talked about, you will naturally start to be resourceful. You'll start to think, okay, this is how I believe. Where do I want to get to? I want to become a BIM coordinator. What do I have to do? I have to learn the skill set. How do I learn the skill set? Let's find someone that, from work at least, that knows how to do BIM coordination. Let me go and ask someone from work. Let me write down a list of things that he does on a day-to-day basis. Let me try and find a way that I can learn this by myself so that I don't cause the company money every single time I switch tasks, okay? These things only start coming to your head if you change the way that you see things and you believe things, okay? So beliefs is most important. They lead to actions, they lead to outcomes, okay? That's number 1. Change your opportunity vehicle to change your life. That's what I'm saying. I said up here that everyone that I've worked with understood after 3 to 5 years in the industry, some people 10 years like Diego, some people 3 years like Arushi, some people like 7, 8 years like Ty, right? They understood after a specific amount of stagnation that they're just going to continue to be stagnant forever unless they change their opportunity vehicle. And the opportunity vehicle is the inflection point which causes growth. And so just by understanding that, you will naturally grow, because opportunity vehicle is what actually allows you to change from that manual boat to the sailboat to the Lamborghini yacht, which allows you to go really, really quickly and sort of enjoy the journey as well, right? How are you enjoying the journey when you're doing laborious work all the time? That's the next thing, okay? Change your beliefs, change your opportunity vehicle. And the last thing is the cost of inaction is so much higher than you believe it is, that you're not doing anything in order for you to achieve your goal, and you knowing that you can achieve it, you're the type of person that can achieve it, but you not doing anything about it, is such a big disservice and is one of the biggest things that you could be doing to sabotage yourself. And I see this time and time again. And the reason that I loved working with every single one of my clients over here, this is just some recent examples, is because they understood these 3 things. They changed the way they believe, they changed the way that they see things, they changed the opportunity vehicle, and they understood the cost of inaction. So they really took action. So if you want my personal help with this, go down below, message me the word BIM on Instagram, and I'll send you across a breakdown of what it would look like to work with me. And I'll speak to you in the next video.